whether my screen is visible or not. Is it visible? Yes or no? You check it whether it is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we have completed the design modeler. Today I am going to start the meshing, introduction to ANSYS meshing. Now in this lecture, you will learn the some meshing fundamentals. Next, you will learn the ANSYS meshing interface. That is what how it is looking. What are the different options? Now next, you will learn the geometry concept from meshing point of view. Okay. Next, uh, you will be introduced with some meshing methods and what are the different diagnostic tools and what is its usability. What are the different options for checking the mesh? That means how we can control the display of the mesh, that we will discuss. Now mesh statics, I will give the introduction of the mesh statics. Okay, detail. See here this is the introduction. So here you will not understand all the concept. You will get the introduction of the all things. Okay, and when we start actual meshing, you will get the idea of all options. Okay, now you see here what is meshing usage in the ANSYS workbench. Now the ANSYS meshing application, it is a separate ANSYS workbench application. That means it is one add-on in the ANSYS workbench. Okay, the meshing application is a data integrated with the ANSYS workbench. Okay, that means meshing data is integrated with the ANSYS workbench. That although interface remains separate, the data from the application communicates with native ANSYS workbench data. That means there is a communication between ANSYS meshing data and ANSYS workbench. Here, these are the following topics are addressed in this section. That is a basic meshing applications. That means under this one, basic meshing applications, workflow, strategy for CFD fluid meshing in ANSYS workbench, accessing the meshing functionality, overview of the meshing applications, determination of the physics, analysis of the solver settings, working with the legacy mesh data, exporting measure or faceted geometry, working with the meshing application parameters. Now see here, ANSYS meshing is a component of ANSYS workbench. Already I have told you. Now meshing platform is different when we consider this ANSYS workbench, but it combines and built on a strengths of pre-processing offering from the ANSYS. That means here it combines and builds on a strengths of pre-processing offerings from the ANSYS. That is ICM CFD, T grade, that means turbo grade, that is fluent meshing, CFX mesh, and Gambit. Okay, these are the preprocessors for different types of analysis. Okay, and it is able to adapt and create the mesh for different physics solvers. Okay, these are the preprocessors for these solvers. You can see here. Okay, these are the or this ANSYS meshing is creating the mesh for these solvers. That is for CFD applications, it can create the mesh for Fluent, CFX, and Polyflow. It can create the mesh for mechanical applications like explicit dynamics, implicit dynamics. Also, this is able to create the mesh for electromagnetic applications, and it is integrate directly with the workbench system. Okay. Next one, meshing fundamentals. Now in meshing fundamentals, what I am going to show you, what is purpose of the mesh. What is purpose of the mesh? I think all of you know the purpose of the mesh. You have studied uh, so many times. Here I will just revise it. Equations are solved at the cell or nodal locations. That means if we go for the finite volume method, equations are solved at the cell centers, and in case of finite element method, equations are solved at the nodal locations. Now, we have to divide the domain into required number of divisions or discrete cells. That is known as the mesh. Okay, that is known as mesh. And system of linear equations is in terms of the unknowns at mesh nodes or cell centers. Okay. Now we need to solve that at centers. So we need first mesh. Okay. Now mesh requirement. What is the mesh requirements? What are the mesh requirements? Efficiency and accuracy. Here, refine smaller cells for high solution gradients and fine geometric details. Means if you have fine geometry or high solution gradient means high accuracy of the solution, when we need to smaller cells, and for coarse mesh larger cells elsewhere means if accuracy is not important, we need efficiency, then we have to go for coarse mesh. Okay, that means here if we go for the accuracy, number of equations are increased, and when number of equations are increased, the solution time will be increased. Okay, so if you want to compromise with the accuracy, then you have to go for coarse mesh, that is larger cells. Okay, and if you don't want to compromise with accuracy, if you want high accurate results, highly accurate result, then you go for smaller cells. Now quality, solution accuracy and stability deteriorates as mesh cells deviates from its ideal shape. That means we need the shapes of the elements close to the ideal shapes. Otherwise, accuracy of the solution will be not good, or stability of the solution you will not achieve from that type of meshing. Okay. Now next one, this is a basic meshing applications or workflow. Now the following sections describes the several basic workflows. That means workflow of the meshing depends upon the different applications. Okay, different applications. That means following sections describes the several basic workflows for using meshing applications in ANSYS Workbench. So here we have to use the meshing applications for different solvers. Okay, overview of the meshing process in ANSYS Workbench. Overview of the meshing for CFD fluid analysis. Now here this also I am going to cover overview of the meshing process for hydrodynamic analysis, that is combining CFD fluids meshing and structural meshing. Overview of the meshing process in ANSYS Workbench. Now here these are the steps which are providing basic workflow for using the meshing applications as a part of ANSYS Workbench. That is first point. That is how this process is going on when we use ANSYS Workbench meshing. Okay. Now here you have to select the appropriate template in toolbox. That is drag onto the project schematic. Already you have seen the project schematic, and on that project schematic you have to select the appropriate template, means appropriate type of what we can say type of analysis. That means it may be static structural, it may be fluid flow prevent analysis, it may be fluid flow CFX analysis. That template you have to select from the toolbox in analysis system and drag it onto the project schematic. Then next, if it is mechanical application, you need to define the material properties, and if necessary, that's why I have written here, if necessary you have to define the engineering data, and through engineering data you have to define the material properties. After that you attach the geometry to the system and build the new geometry. That means here if you drag the fluent system, then we need the fluid domain, and that is in the form of geometry. That geometry you have to attach to your analysis system. Okay, after and that geometry you have to build in ANSYS design modeler, or you can import from the space claim, or you can uh, import from any other modeling software, that is any other from any other format. Next one, after attaching the geometry, you access the meshing applications functionality. For that purpose, what you have to do, you right click on a cell and choose edit button, or you can double click on that mechanical or model cell, and you will get the launching of ANSYS mechanical application. Okay, and here I have written this step will launch the ANSYS mechanical application. Once you are in ANSYS mechanical application, you can move between its components by highlighting and corresponding objects in the tree. That means similar to the details view in your design modeler, you will get the details view in your meshing or mechanical application also, and in that you will get the tree outline also. Okay, tree outline, and through that tree outline you can move from one object to the other object whenever you require. Now select the mesh object in a tree to access the meshing application functionality and apply the mesh controls. There are certain controls, or there are different controls in the meshing that you can apply in through the details view in meshing. Okay, now this is the overview of meshing process for CFD or fluid analysis. Now this section describes the basic process for using the ANSYS meshing application to create the mesh as a part of ANSYS workbench for CFD or fluid analysis. There are four basic steps. What are that four basic steps that I will explain here? First one is geometry. Create the geometry. Already I have told you we need the geometry for any meshing or any analysis. Okay. Now here you can create the geometry for meshing applications either through space claim or through design modeler application. You can also import the geometry from external CAD file. Already I have told you that is same procedure we have to adopt for ANSYS workbench meshing as well as for meshing process for fluid flow and CFD analysis. Okay. Next, one thing you have to remember here, after importing the geometry or after adding the geometry in meshing application, you are required to construct the solid bodies, not surface bodies. Okay. To define the region for 3D mesh. That means when we want to define the 3D region, then you have to create the solid bodies. Okay. And for 2D simulation, sheet body can be used. Sheet body means surface body can be used for 2D simulation. A separate body must be created for region of interest in the fluid simulation. Okay, that means we need to create the separate body for region of interest of the fluid simulation. Okay, for example, a region in which you want to you want the fluid solver to solve only heat transfer must be created as a separate body. Okay, that means here I have written one example. If you want to use fluid solver to solve the heat transfer, you must create the separate body. Multiple bodies are created in design modeler application by using freeze command. Already you have studied this. We can use freeze command to create the multiple bodies. It is best practice to explicitly identify any fluid region in the model as a fluids rather than the solids. Okay. For new users or new models, it is often useful to first generate a default mesh. That means default mesh. I will show you what is default mesh, or it is also known as a coarse mesh. Then you have to evaluate it and then apply the controls described in define mesh attribute as appropriate to improve the various mesh characteristics. Means here this is a general practice and it is known as a mesh convergence test. Mesh convergence test. What we are doing in mesh convergence test, it is first we are dividing the domain. That means we are generating the mesh, and that mesh will be the coarse mesh with big elements. Then we are solving the uh, problem for coarse mesh. Okay, and then after getting the results, we are starting to improve the meshing for better quality. That means for smaller elements. Okay, and we are checking the results, improved results or improved mesh characteristics. Okay, now after creating the geometry, what you have to do, you define the name selection. How to define the name selections, that I will tell you, but here you need, here you have to understand what is purpose of named selection. During the fluids simulation setup, you need to define the boundary conditions where you can apply the specific physics. That means it may be inlet, it may be outlet. Here I have written some examples. You may need to define where the fluid enters the geometry, that is your inlet, where it exists, that is your outlet. Although it may be possible to select the phases that correspond to particular boundary conditions inside the solver application. Okay, it is rather easier to make this selected selection ahead of the time in either the CAD connections. Okay, the ANSYS design modeler application or meshing application. In addition, it is much better to define the location of periodic boundaries also. So here this is also important, that I will show you in analysis also. Here it is much better to define the location of periodic boundaries before the generation of the mesh. Okay, mesh is generated to allow the nodes of the surface mesh to match on the two sides of the periodic boundary, which in turn allow for a more accurate fluids. Just minute, काय बोला? Now, creating name selection will affect how measure treats that topology. You can define the locations of boundaries by defining the named selection, which can assist in following ways. You can use named selection to easily hide the outside boundary in an external flow problems. That means if we select the name selection option, and by using name selection option, we can select the appropriate domain for applying the boundary conditions. Okay, you can assign name selection to all faces in the model except walls. Program controlled inflation will automatically select all walls. You have to remember here. Here walls are automatically selected, not necessary to give the names for this one in the model to be inflation boundaries. Okay. Next step, after giving the name selections, here you have to remember, and in analysis I am going to show you, for every part we have to give the name selection. After this, define the name. After defining the name selection, you define the mesh attributes. What are the mesh attributes, that I will show you. Here the mesh generation process in the meshing application is fully automatic, not necessary to draw any line. Here you will get the automatic meshing. Okay, however, you have considerable control over the mesh. That means how these elements are distributed over the geometry, we have full control over that mesh. Okay, to ensure that you get the best fluid solution possible with your available computing resources. Okay, repeating this, that means if you have control over the mesh, we can design a mesh in such a fashion we will get better solution with all resources available with us. Okay, you can dictate the background element size, type of mesh to generate, and where and how the mesh should be refined. Okay, so here this is useful when we generate the, or when we use attributes, mesh attributes. Okay, that means you can dictate the background element size, type of mesh to generate, and where and how the mesh should be refined. In general setting, length scale field for your mesh is a 3-step process as outlet or as outlined below. Okay, Assign a suitable set of global mesh controls. What are the global mesh controls that I will show you in ANSYS directly? Here by using global mesh control, we can control the size of elements, flow of elements. Okay, override the default mesh type by inserting different mesh methods. That means mesh type also we can change by using different methods. That means tetra mesh, prism mesh, like this. Override the global sizing or other control locally on bodies, faces, edges, or vertices, and the regions close to them by scoping local mesh control. That means we have local mesh control, and by using that local mesh control, we can control the size of the elements or growth of the elements, growth of the mesh on bodies, faces, edges, or on vertices. Okay. Next, after defining this mesh attribute, you have to generate the mesh. Okay. So here, these are the steps of the meshing. That is, we have geometry. Then after geometry, you define the name selection. After that, you define the mesh attributes, and then you have to generate the mesh. When you are ready to compute the mesh, you can do so by using either update feature or by generate mesh. That means you can right click and you select the update feature, or you can select the generate mesh. Okay. Either feature computes the entire mesh. The surface mesh and volume mesh are generated at one time. The mesh for all parts or bodies is also generated at one time when we use update or generate mesh. The previewing surface mesh and previewing inflation features are also available if you do not want to generate the entire mesh at one time. Okay. Once the mesh is generated, you can view it by selecting the mesh option in the tree outline. Okay. You can define the section planes for better visibility of the mesh and for characteristics of the elements. And you can use the mesh metric feature, which is available in details view feature, to view the quality of the elements. That means worst quality or good quality. And quality criteria you will get in mesh metrics. Okay. What is the quality criteria? How we can check the quality criteria? That also I am going to explain. Here I am going to explain only detailed procedure. Next one. Now this is for CFD and fluids analysis process or meshing process. Now next one, if you have hydrodynamics analysis, what is the process for analyzing the, or what is process of meshing for hydrodynamic analysis? This section describes the basic process of for using the ANSYS meshing application to create the mesh as a part of hydrodynamic analysis. That means when we want to use meshing for hydrodynamic analysis, what is the process? Now these are the three basic steps for creating the mesh. First, we have to create the geometry. It is same to the other softwares. You can create the geometry in ANSYS space claim, or you can create the or import the geometry from external file. The model should consist of surface and line bodies only. You see here it is specially for hydrodynamic analysis. It should contain the surface and line bodies only, no solid bodies. Select the physics preference. Physics preference you need to select, and in CFD also we need to select the physics preference. Okay, select hydrodynamics as your physics preference. Define mesh attributes. Here also we have to define the mesh attributes. Now here hydrodynamic preference corresponding to the uniform sizing with chord dominant method. However, you have considerable control over how mesh elements are distributed. To ensure that you get the best solution possible with your available computing resources. Already it is same for CFD meshing also. You can dictate the background element size, type of mesh, and to generate and where and how the mesh should be refined. In general setting of your mesh is two-step process, and that two steps are here. Assign suitable global mesh sizes within the hydrodynamics physics preference. Override the global sizing locally on bodies, faces, edges, or vertices, and the regions close to them by scoping local mesh controls. Now after that you have to generate the mesh for hydrodynamic analysis. When you are ready to compute the mesh, you can generate the mesh. Okay, then you check the quality of the elements through this mesh matrix feature. Now next one. Now there is a one important thing in the CFD. Uh, in this thing, that is there is a combining of CFD or fluid meshing with the structural meshing. Okay, how it is working you can see here. Here in some applications we need CFD or fluids mesh and structural mesh. Okay, that means here depending upon the physical preference, software is going to give the properties to the elements. But if you want to combine two things, that is fluids and structural problem, that is fluid analysis and structural analysis, then what should be the workflow? Okay, for this one way coupling application, the loading, solving and post processing of the fluids mesh the parts latter occur in the fluid flow analysis system, while the loading, solving and post processing of the structurally meshed parts latter occur in the structural analysis. Okay, the best approach for this kind of application is to break the model into separate parts rather than use continuous multi-body parts. Okay, now here I will show you following approach is for application. What is for previous that I will show you. Now this is the approach. You see here, attach the model to the geometry, or it is a design modeler system, and use the explode part feature to create the independent parts within the model. You see here, this is one part and outer part is different. Link a fluid flow analysis system and a structural analysis system to the geometry system. You see here, this geometry system is added here. It is a fluid flow analysis, and again this geometry system is added to this is structural system. Okay, the geometries may be shared or not depending on whether deep featuring needs to be done to one or other system. Dedicate the fluid flow analysis system to meshing the applications. Fluid domain for the fluids applications. Suppress the structural parts in the model. Dedicated the structural analysis system to mesh. Appropriate structural parts are required and suppress the fluid part. You see here, for structural you suppress the fluid part, and for fluid you suppress the structural part. Okay, now this is a in this way we can launch the meshing. You can see here there are two ways. First, you drag fluid flow and fluid flow fluent. In that you have geometry option. After creating the geometry, you double click on the mesh. Okay, you have, this is a static, that means in analysis system you can add any component of analysis system in your workbench, and in that after creating the geometry you can get the mesh. Now here, this is another way. In component system similar to the geometry you have mesh. Okay, now this is outline of the mesher window or meshing window. It is a three default section. Now first one, these are the, you see here, this is geometry, virtual topology, coordinates, connections, mesh. Now after that you will get the mesh, what we can say, different options which we have used for meshing, or mesh attributes you will get here. After that there is a name selection. Okay, now see here, this is a coordinate system meshing. Right clicking on any object launches the context or context sensitive menu. Example, constraint command to generate the preview clear mesh. Okay, now this is a details view of the mesh. It is accessing the details, object details. Now here, this is mesh. Under this mesh you have, these are the attributes, mesh attributes which we have used, or mesh control commands which we have used, and that mesh control commands we can modify or you can access through this details view. Okay, release the information to that object and displays the detail view below the mesh. Okay. Next one, select the body fluid in outline, details of the fluid, constraints, graphical and geometrical details. To access the mesh details, click on mesh object or any of the instead object, you will get the view. The detail view provides the options to review, edit and input. That values you can modify or you can check or you can give the input. Okay. Next one, this is the geometry configuration in meshing or required for meshing. Now here geometry is composed of the multiple parts. If you have multiple parts geometry, no connection between the parts, no phase sharing will be there. Contact region is automatically created between the two pieces when there is a no connectivity between the two bodies. Okay, each part will be meshed separately. You have to remember this. If there is no connection between the two parts, then that parts are meshed separately. Okay, that is meshed independently. Results in non-conformal interface. Okay, that means if you have two separate bodies not connected by common phase, then you will get the results, that is you will get the non-conformal internal interface, that means non-conformal mesh do not match, no node connections are available. Okay, that means a number of elements on common faces are not matching with each other. Number of our node, there is no connectivity between the nodes. Okay, now here in Fluent we need grid interface, CGI in CFX and contact between the two parts in mechanical. Okay, independent faces, you can see here, this is face of this outer body and this is a face of that inner body. Okay, now next is geometry configuration. In geometry configuration you have multi-body parts. Geometry is composed of multiple bodies in a part. Okay, depend on the shear topology in design modeler. There are two options for shear topology, one is none and one is automatic. If you have shear topology none, then you will get the results in no connection between the two bodies, similar to the multiple parts. Here multiple parts. Okay, and if we select the automatic, then faces in contact imprinted and fused to form a single face shared between two bodies. Okay, and that will result in conformal mesh if we select the automatic. Okay, next common face act as a interior. Okay, interior. Note that CFX users will still get duplicate nodes at interface in CFX, which is fine, or it's a solver. It is fine for it's a solver. Okay, you have to remember this. If you have multi-body parts, this is your multiple parts. This is your multi-body part. If shared topology is none, then your mesh is non-conformal. Separate individual body will be meshed. If it is automatic, then you will get the conformal mesh at the interface. Okay. Now this is a geometry configuration. Again, multiple body parts. Now geometry is composed of multiple bodies in a part. Then that will imprint in the imprint the surface. Okay, that is faces are imprinted on each other like faces. That means that faces are separated. If you see this one, this part, this is the hexagonal part, and if it is cubical part, that or it is a hexagon, uh, there is a common surface. That common surface is used as a surface for dividing the surface of big body. Okay, surface of big body. Now contact region is automatically created for identical mesh on these faces. Use match control, and that results in the unconnected mesh. Okay. Sorry, otherwise you will get the unconnected mesh. Non-conformal interface. Here you will get the greedy interface in Fluent and CGI in CFX. Now again you see here meshing in 3D geometry. I will show you meshing of 3D geometry. One, here you have 3D cell types and meshing approach. Okay, you can see here meshing occurs at part or body level. Meshing methods are scoped to individual bodies. Methods assigned can be automatic or manual. Bodies contained in one part or conformally meshed. Bodies contained in one part, that is bodies available in one part are conformally meshed. Okay. Here part or body methods. Here I have written part or body based. Here it is a part or body method. There are different methods, that is tetrahedrons. It will create only tetras. Sweep, it will create the prism and hexahedrons. Okay. Now this is a tetrahedron. This is pyramid. This is a prism and this is hexahedron. Now here multi-zone, mainly hexahedron. It will create maximum hexahedron. Hex dominant, it is not for CFD applications. But it is creating the hexahedron. Automatic, it is sweep plus PC, that is tetrahedron, depends on the bodies or program controller tetras. Program controller tetras. Now here we don't have control over this. It is controlled by programs already available in ANSYS. Okay. Next one. This is the second meshing approach which is available, which is applicable for CFD users. You see here assembly meshing. Meshes an entire model in one process. Means whole bodies will be meshed or whole assembly of the parts will be meshed in single step. Performs Boolean operations, that is volume filling, intersection and combination. Does not require prior fluid body definition or shared topology. Conformal mesh created across the parts. Assembly meshing method, it generates mainly hexahedrons and tetrahedrons. Parts or body meshing and assembly meshing not interoperable. Now you see here, this is a cut cell meshing. You see here, this is a one part of the what we can say exhaust system. Now this is meshing, it is cut cell meshing, and how it has been created, that I will show you during the lab session. Now this is a mesh diagnostic or mesh display by body connections. Now you can see here it is a default display of the mesh. These are the 4 different parts, and 4 different parts you will get the different type of elements, different type of elements, different meshing. Okay. Now this is by mesh display, it is default mesh display. Now when we select the wireframe for the same model, you will get this is a wireframe. Okay. Now this is mesh display by body connection. That means these are the different bodies, and at connection of the bodies you will get this purple color. Okay. Now that display control we have in a display options. Okay. And how we can get it, that I will show you. Now what is the strategy for CFD or fluid meshing in ANSYS Workbench? Now what is that strategy, that I will tell you. Just a minute. ANSYS Workbench offers various strategies for CFD or fluid meshing. For each strategy, certain defaults are in place to target the particular needs of analysis. The strategies and circumstances in which each of them are appropriate are described. In all cases, your first decision is to determine whether you want to use assembly meshing or part based meshing. Okay, now see here it is different approaches for meshing or different strategies. Okay, now first is a tetra dominating mesh. Here patch conforming tetra and prism meshing, or prism meshing. The first strategy is to use conformal tetra prism meshing plus the default sweep. This is the first strategy in which we are going to use tetra prism meshing plus default sweep method. This strategy is recommended for model involving moderately clean CAD. So here you have to follow these rules. If your geometry is involving moderately clean CAD, for which you want or you desire a tetra or hybrid dominant mesh. Hybrid means tetra plus prism meshing or hex dominant mesh. Okay. Although the patch conforming tetra mesh method is fully automated, it is fully automated. It interacts with the additional mesh controls. Means you can use additional mesh controls and capabilities as necessary. Okay. Now it includes advanced tetra and inflation layer technology, pinch control for removing small features at the mesh level, offered as an alternative to virtual topology, which work at geometry level, sizing controls for providing greater control over the mesh distribution. Now that everything I will show you, advanced tetra, inflation layer technology, pinch control, what is the pinch control, how it is used in meshing, size controls, how you can control the size of distributed elements, that also I will show you. Conformal sweep regions, body of influence for setting one body as a size source for another body. Okay. Now tetradominant, here this is patch conforming and this one is a patch independent. These two I will show you, patch conforming, what is patch conforming, and what is patch independent. Now here also you will get the tetra as well as prism meshing. These are the two methods for tetra meshing, that is purely for tetra meshing. An alternative for those desiring a tetradominant mesh is patch independent, or it is also prism meshing. This approach is best for dirty CAD or CAD model with many surface patches, and in case with large number of sliver or small edges or sharp corners. You have to remember this. Here when your geometries, or you are not, when you are not uh, confident about the geometry, what you have to use, you have to use the patch independent method. Okay, that means in this situation it is also fully automatic. It is not taking the care of surface patches, number of slivers, small edges. Okay, it includes support for post inflation as well as CAD simplification built in tetrameshing. Okay, next is mapped hex meshing or all hex swept meshing. This mapped hex sweep approach, which includes both general sweep as well as thin sweep, is recommended for clean CAD geometry, and it supports single source to single target volumes and may require you to perform manually geometry decomposition. Okay, it supports the single source to single target volumes. What is the source and what is target volumes, what is the target surface, what is the source surface, that we will see in meshing. Okay, and may require you to perform manual geometry decomposition. Benefits of this approach includes it supports for sizing controls, it supports for compatibility with patch conforming tetrameshing, supports for swift inflation, or swift means it is structured mesh. Now next one, uh, this is over. This is mapped and free meshing. multi-zone meshing. So here multi-zone meshing, it is also known as mapped or free zone meshing. In software, you will get the name of it as a multi-zone meshing. Best for moderately clean CAD and CAD, the multi-zone strategy for meshing provides multi-level sweep with automatic decomposition or geometry into mapped or structured and pre-unstructured regions. Okay, that means it automatically decomposes the geometry into mapped, that is structured and unstructured regions, mapped and free regions. Okay, when defining the multi-zone mesh method, you can specify a mapped mesh type and free mesh type that will be used to fill the structured and unstructured regions respectively. Depending on your setting, depending upon your settings and specific model, the mesh may contain mixture of hex or prism tetra elements. The multi-zone mesh method and the sweep mesh method described above operate similarly. However, multi-zone has capability that make it more suitable for class of problems for which sweep method would not work. That means, here one more thing I want to tell you here. Sweep method we can use only on sweepable bodies. If sweepable body is not available, then we cannot use sweep mesh. For that purpose, you have to go for this multi-zone method. Okay, without extensive geometry decomposition. Additional benefits of this is it supports for 3D inflation, ability to selective or ignore small features. Now this is assembly meshing, which is also one part of the CFD meshing, or it is cut cell or tetrahedron algorithm. It uses the cut cell or tetrahedron algorithm, and this is also available in our uh, meshing controls. Now here, cut cell Cartesian meshing is general purpose assembly meshing algorithm, and it is designed for ANSYS Fluent algorithm. That is, cut cell Cartesian meshing is general purpose assembly meshing algorithm and designed for ANSYS Fluent, which we are using. Cut cell is in principle a top-down measure. Top-down measure means what? It is it moving from volume to the surfaces, and it is mostly suitable for moderately clean geometry, moderately clean CAD models. Okay, it results in a mesh of 80 to 95% hex cells, which often leads to very accurate solution. Okay, that means it is resulting in hex cells. Hex cells means hexadron elements. Okay, which is very good for accuracy of the solution, and providing the physics can handle the relatively rapid size changes due to hanging node configuration. Additional benefits of this approach includes support for sizing controls, support for 3D inflation, although very thick inflation should be avoided when using the cut cell algorithm. Okay, ability to selectively ignore the features. It has ability to ignore the features. Okay, the tetrahedron assembly meshing algorithm is derivative of cut cell algorithm with strengths and weaknesses similar to the cut cell. The tetrahedron methods starts from cut cell mesh and through various mesh manipulations creates a high quality unstructured tetra mesh. Here in cut cell or tetrahedron algorithms, you will get the high quality unstructured tape mesh. Now this is the diagnostic of the mesh. Now close vertices. Here you see here, if your vertices are different, you can close vertices. Checks for vertices that are very close to together. Scale can be adjusted depending upon the model size. Here this scale, how we can close the vertices and how we can apply the scale, that we will see in our meshing exercise. Now named selection. Now already I have told you what is the importance of named selection. Named selection are groups of geometries or finite element entities. Finite element or finite cell entities. Named selection can be created either by selecting the desired atoms and clicking the named selections. That means we have to select the desired items, that means spaces or other things. Then you have to select the you have to enter the name for it. Now see here icon in the context menu of toolbar, right mouse button, named selection, or using named selection worksheet shown later. Okay. Now see here you can use named selection. Named selection must composed of like entities or surfaces or edges, all nodes, etc. Named selection you can see here when we click on right mouse button, you will get one option, that is create named selection. Create named selection. Now after that you will get this option, that is apply geometry atom of the same. Okay. Or convert to nodal named selection, or you can enter directly name here and click on OK. Now named selection, in many detail window fields, name selection can be referenced directly. In the details view, you can see here, in details view, there if you want to use any command, you can access the geometry or a part of the geometry or set of elements by using named selection also. In detail views, change the scoping method. Here geometry in front of geometry, here geometry, sorry, in front of scoping method, there is a geometry selection. Uh, in front of geometry, in place of geometry selection, you can change it to the named selection. Now select the named selection from pull down, and you select the names or group of names. Okay. Now see here usability options to save the mesh in a separate file. When save mesh data in a separate file is on, the mesh is saved as a separate file and its extension is .acmo. Duplication, resume, replace, and save will handle the separate database and ACMO files. Clear the generated data will not remove the ACMO file. Reset will remove the ACMO file. And design points also support the separate database and ACMO files. The functionality is particularly helpful on Linux to keep the file size smaller. Okay, and now this is not important thing. You can save the mesh in separate file. That is thing. Now this is these are the display options you can see here. Here that display icons, it displays the mesh color by quality matrices. Okay, that is by quality element quality. By that quality matrix, you can get the display of the elements. That means you see here you will get the options, or you will get the values of the element quality, and according to that value you will get the color display. Okay. After that, we can use the probe element for checking the values. You can see here if you use probe option, you can check the value of the quality of the element. Okay. Now it will find the maximum or minimum value of your of the quality of element. Now these two icons, and it displays the mesh contour also. Now this is a mesh contour that you can display with the help of these icons and these icons you will get at top of your meshing window. Now one of the important thing is section plane. Now what is purpose of section plane? It displays the internal element of the mesh. That means we can check the elements, how that elements are inside the solid body. Okay, elements on either side of the plane can be displayed. That means we can check the elements on both sides. Toggle button toggle button between or toggle between cut or whole element displays. Okay, elements on planes can be displayed in the form of 3D. Okay, edit section plane. Here you have this section plane. Here you have edit section plane. Can be used to drag section plane to you new locations. That means to you new locations. You can drag the section plane. I will show you that in meshing exercise. Okay. Clicking on edit section plane button will make section plane anchor to appear. Multiple section planes are allowed. You can use any number of section planes. So here when we select the section plane, it will display like this. For larger meshes, it is advisable to switch to geometry mode. Click on geometry in a tree outline, create the section plane, and then go back to the mesh mode. You remember this? Now this is the section, another approach of the section plane. You can see here. Here, shaded section plane, that is also possible. Now you can see here, these are the two things. Shaded hollow section planes, plot the body color or same color for section planes. Okay. Now this is a mesh statistics. Now these are here clear or detailed explanation of this I will give in any of the slide. Here I have not detailed explanation what is this element quality, but I will give you only just overview of this. Display the mesh information for nodes and elements. That means it will display the mesh statistics. It will display the information of the mesh and mesh, that is elements and nodes. That is statistics will display the nodes and elements, number of nodes and elements in your model. Okay. And mesh matrix, it will display the quality of the element. That means quality of the elements we are checking the by using different quality parameters. That means here different quality parameters are there for getting the value of deviation of the shape of the element from its ideal shape. That means list of quality criteria for the mesh matrix. That is different physics and different solvers have different requirement of mesh quality. You have to remember this here. If you if you are working on different type of analysis, that means for static analysis quality criteria is different, for fluid flow analysis quality criteria is different. Okay, that is in Fluent quality criteria is different, for CFX quality criteria is different. If you are working on other softwares, quality criteria may be working different. Okay, mesh matrices available in Workbench meshing includes element quality, aspect ratio, Jacobian ratio, warping factor, parallel deviation, maximum corner angle, skewness, orthogonal quality. What are these things? What are its definitions? Okay, and what is its lower limit and upper limit? How we can identify the failed element? That depends upon this criteria. And what is its lower limit and upper limit means what is the lower limit of deviation of the element quality from its ideal quality. Okay, that we will see when we start the element quality. That means when I am going to give specific numbers for all these parameters, and through these specific numbers you can check whether your elements are failed elements or whether your elements are uh, requires attention, some more attention. Okay, now this is a mesh matrix graph. It displays the mesh matrix graph for element quality distribution. Now see here depending upon the quality criteria you will get this number, or depending upon the quality of element you will get these numbers, and how many number of elements are in your uh, in specific region, that will be displayed here. Okay, different element types are plotted with the different color bars. Okay, here this color is for it may be for tetra elements, it may be for hexa elements. Can be accessed through menu bar using metric graph button. Okay, axis range can be adjusted using control button. Okay, you have control button that we can adjust. Click on bars to view the corresponding elements in a graphics window, used to help locate poor quality elements. Okay, now this is mesh matrix control. Elements on y-axis can be plotted with two methods: number of elements, percentage of volume or area. Options to change the range on either axis. Specify which element type to include in a graph: tetra, hex, this wedge shaped element, pyramid element, quad element, tri element. Okay, any other. Now this control we are not changing, we are keeping as a default. Now this is a summary what we have learned, what that is global process to run the ANSYS meshing. On overview of the interface, various geometry configurations, multi-part, multi-body parts, multiple body parts. Meshing methods, part or body based, assembly based method, section place, diagnostic and usability, mesh statistics, mesh matrix, display options. Okay. Now tomorrow I will show you some simple exercise. Okay. Now I think it is 340, 350. Within I think